So hello and welcome. My name is Erica Glessing and I'm the host of the Happiness Telesummit. I'm very joyful today because I have an author who wrote the most fabulous book. I read this book. I couldn't put it down. I actually met her. She handed me the manuscript and I really couldn't sleep for like 2 more days. So welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So Bonnie Mashack teaches how to be in the dream, to not let go of the dream, and to understand that it's time right now for you to exceptionally trust that your dream can be reality. She's a counselor by profession. She helps others through the dreams. In this book, she helps others through the dreams of a child. So it's very exciting. I just want to also mention that Happy Publishing, my publishing house, did publish this book. And when I met her, I had never published fiction before. And as I said, I could not sleep. And I stayed up for 2 days and I read the entire thing, front to back, cover to cover. And I said, oh my gosh. And then I have to tell you one more funny thing. Bonnie and I found out after we met that we both went to the same high school during the same year. So what are the odds of that? Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. I know that was just amazing. The way the energy flows like that, Erica, and how we connected.
You know, tell that story of that day and who told you. I can't remember the details. It was, we got on a call and Lee had said something. Tell everyone that story because that's an amazing story.
It is an amazing story, and you guys are going to find it so intriguing. What happened, Erica and I both belong to a sister circle, and we were having a clearing. And during the clearing, I made a comment that a really good friend of mine, who's another counselor, but he's also a sage, told me that if I did not publish my book last year, that it was not going to happen. That Spirit had spoke to him a couple of times already, and he had already told me, and that I needed to get it done. Well, I said this on the call.
Wow.
And Spirit spoke to it. She called me back about 5 minutes later and said, Bonnie, Spirit spoke to me and said, I have to publish your book. And so, as you know, when you get inspired thought and when Spirit speaks, you need to act on it. You need to act on whatever it is that the intention that you're getting, you need to go for it. And we met the next day at a McDonald's and I handed her the manuscript and she started reading it while I was there. I felt so ignored. And she said, oh my gosh, she said, I'm so sorry, but just the beginning of the book, I can't stop. But we stopped long enough to we needed to do, and here we are a year later. And then we found out we went to the same junior high school and high school. So it was just amazing how we got connected. How when you are desiring, how he'll send the right people. The right people just seem to show up for you when you're in the flow. And we were both in the flow and then in receiving of that energy.
You know, I can't forget that moment. I really can't, because I was like, I have to tell you, as a publisher, people do tell me I have a manuscript. I'd love you to read my manuscript. And this happens to me. You know, that's one of the things I do. So it happens, and quite frequently, there's no way I can publish the manuscript. And it's just a thing. I mean, Bonnie, you and I know I've had some manuscript handed to me, but there is no way I am ever in this lifetime gonna publish. And so it was so interesting the way that worked with this book, because it had a purpose and a dream and a mission. And what Bonnie did, as far as like my viewpoint, is she just got out of the way and let the dream experience itself. And the consciousness of this book, which I'm just going to show one more time because it is exceptional. And
So
it's
beautiful.
called The Dreams of Mattie Fitch. And, you know, before we go any further, just give us a little bit of what this book is. And you can tell us more about the work you're doing now in waking up people's dreams. But give us a little bit of an insight into this book and how it came to be and your near death, whatever you want to talk about.
Well, like I explained in the book, kind of a dialogue I was having in dreams. And what had happened, I'd been diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I had got really sick. And so during my healing process, I would be sleeping, and this little young child would come and wake me up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning. She liked that time. I don't know why, but she did. And after a while, it's, I was like, okay, who are you and what do you want? And finally she said, well, you've always wanted something more, and I'm here to help you get it. I am you as a child. And I'm thinking, wow, I do remember being a child wanting to do certain things and being raised in a home that was full of lack mentality and things like that, and never really feeling as if I would be able to do these things. But it seems as if sometimes when you hit that low point in your life, you will manifest desires from the past. And so what Mattie did was finally she told me what she wanted me to do. And I set out on this journey that took me 7 years to meet Erica. And I would write, then I would stop. I would write, then I would stop. And then finally, when I stopped, I didn't know what to do after that. So I started to go into meditation and prayer. And finally, I just said, forget it. I'm just not going to do it. And then the miraculous started happening. And I noticed that, things that I started about, because I started to put my energy on those things. And that's what I find is interesting about waking your sleeping dreams. And in my book, that's the catchphrase that Mattie gave me was, your dreams are your reality asleep. Wake them up. Because in the dream lives a reality. It's a combination of things. And all you have to do is decide where you want to put that energy and go for it. And again, people will come that are supposed to help you.
I love that. I love that. And Mattie, oh my gosh, Bonnie.
You call me Mattie, I know.
I know. We also found out she named her daughter Erica, and I named my daughter Mattie.
I know, there's just so much. It's
what are the odds of that, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I find so interesting, I went and spoke to a group of 8th graders, and what happened when they were chatting with me, we had at this one, I taught 4 different classes, and we had at this one point like 4 minutes left. And I had basically finished my presentation. And I was thinking, okay, what else could I bring? I'm in a group of young people. And I said, what percentage of each day could you spend on your dream? And could you spend 10 minutes on your dream? Could you spend 15? And one child wanted to be a writer. I said, perfect, you could write for 10 minutes. One child wanted to be an athlete. I said, okay, are you going to watch TV? Are you going to work out? What are you going to do for those times when you're focusing on your dream?
Right.
And I asked them, what's standing between you and your dream? And as we got further and further, it got so clear that there was absolutely nothing that could actually stand between their dream and themselves if, and I think you already talked about this, you could shift. And so talk a little bit about that belief of that, because I just feel like we forget about the dream. Or we give up.
I think what happens is with most people is they think that you know, if it doesn't happen right away, that it's unattainable. But that's really not the case. I've thought, well, I'm getting older, you know, I've had children, I've had divorce, and now I'll just have to continue to do what, you know, my life's work is, and that's being a counselor and helping people wake their sleeping dreams. But that's not it. It's all of a sudden something clicks, and it's like, I always wanted to do that. It's like a yearning that you have that I say it's an itch that you can't scratch. You know, you try to get back there and you just can't get it. But when you get it, it's like, oh, I finally, you know, reached it. But I believe that if you let your dreams stay asleep, you're going to miss out on what you really had to accomplish in your life. And to be able to write those things down, that's what I started doing. What is it that you really feel is calling you? What is that? What are you going to do about it? How are you going to attain it? And you asked some of the questions there yourself. It's like, it's not that you can't do it. It's just that sometimes we decide that it's going to take too much work. But if you really want to do it, you'll find how easy it becomes. Just like my situation with finding you, how easy that happened. And what is it that's keeping you from doing it? What's keeping you from doing it?
You know, one of my clients is doing a book right now on healing. And she talks about healing from cancer. And she says, you know what? She sat there with her daughter who had leukemia. And she said, you know what? We're just going to eat the elephant.
Mm.
She said, we're just going to eat the elephant because her daughter was 12 and she was simply not ready to let her go. Right. And she asked the spirit of her daughter, because she's kind of a cool spiritual type of individual. And she said, are you ready to go? Because if you're ready to go, I'm not going to help you eat the elephant. And her daughter said, no, I'm not ready to go at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so together, Donna calls it eating the elephant. And it was healing from a massive disease. And they went to all these things, right? And they did it. And they actually ate the elephant. That's what she calls it. And that stuck with me because that seems so germane. It's like you have a dream. And for me, of course, it's my publishing company. It's one of my dreams. And you can't hit it by eating the elephant in one bite. You just can't do it.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about how do we keep our dreams alive, you know, in this space of whatever kinds of stuff's going on in our true life. How do we keep that dream awake or alive? How do we nourish it?
I spend a lot of time, especially with writing the Dreams of Mattie Fitch, by nurturing myself and her, nurturing the idea of being able to create in my environment, in my energy, what she wanted. A lot of times people get inspired thought while they're sleeping. And what I started doing, because that's what typically happens, I will be sleeping and I will get something like feeling like you're in an awakening period, and I write it down. I write down whatever it is that I get at that time. But what you have to do is put your energy towards it. Even if you're working full time, I work full time as a counselor, but I also know that my desire is to create wealth by helping people wake their dreams, by writing books, by doing a second series of the Dreams of Mattie Fitch, because there are people out there that are hurting. If your intention is just to make money, then I mean, it just won't happen. What is the intention? Like Earl Nightingale says, money, you must really want to earn money. And how do you want to earn this money? And you've got to believe in what it is that you're trying to do. And sometimes you can't do it alone. You're going to need to join yourself with another individual who believes and who feels what you need. Because I couldn't have done this by myself. I needed people's energy. I needed their prayers, their meditation. I needed that conscious thought that sometimes we need in order to produce the outcome that we desire.
Thank you so much, Bonnie. This has just been the most amazing interview. I want to encourage everyone to go to the dreamsofmattiefitch.com. Put it in front of my face. Someone told me last year they played the Happiness Telesummit interviews just to listen to my laugh, so I don't want to hold back. I want to laugh for people just so they can experience that.
I love your laugh.
So let's just go ahead and say thank you to Bonnie for coming today. We wish you well on all of your books. I can't wait to see more of them. And we're going to hear a lot more from this woman. You can actually go to the dreamsofmattiefitch.com. She's also on Twitter. And you can buy her book at the dreamsofmattiefitch.com. And I encourage you to do so. And then there'll be more coming. So I can't wait for your new books. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.